the Two Devs and a Dude podcast. Not the only podcast where you can sit down and listen to people just yammer on about video games. It's probably about 1 in 5 billion of them, but it is the only podcast with me, J Kid from Wraith Games, as well as
Grant McClure, Brigadoon 564. I do Twitch stuff and founder of GameOver GameOn, and you can go check that out on the Go-Go Show on YouTube. There's really terrible, dumb videos that probably would have gone somewhere after watching it back if there was better editing. But hey, some people have got to learn. You got to do it somehow. We didn't go to school for it. So strap in, hold on to your butts. It's going to be fun. And who's this third person? Who's here?
Oh, yeah, I exist too. Hey, everybody, this is Cajun. I'm the host of the IndieView Podcast and a game developer. Welcome to the show, I guess. What episode is this? This is 8 or 9 now?
8.
Yeah. It's episode 8. Yeah, and I guess if this is the first time listening and tuning in and all that stuff, this episode, the last episode, if you listen to it, it was about E3, and usually we do a game, but this time, like, E3, nice and special, holidays happen, things happened, in the words of the late national American treasure, Jeff Goldblum. He may be Canadian, I don't know, a lot of great American, air quote, actors are probably Canadian. Life finds a way.
What do you mean late? I don't think he passed away, dude. I think he's still.
Did I say late? I'm sorry. No, he's still alive. I meant just the great national treasure, Jeff Goldblum. That man.
Now, before this episode airs, one of us has to go kill Jeff Goldblum to make this right.
But Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom just recently came out, and he's probably on that studio tour doing really cool dinosaur stuff.
It'll be easy to find.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't he play piano, like, randomly? Oh, speaking of actors who are musicians, where I live in Kentucky, they used to be great state until we elected this terrible governor, but that's my opinion.
Politics.
Yeah, no. I just wanted to make that little political jab, just a little bit, because he's the guy who was like, video games, violence is bad, kids, causes lots. But you can listen to episode 1 for that. But yeah, what's his name? The dude's cousin or brother, Randy Quaid. He has a band, Randy Quaid and the Sharks. They'll be playing somewhere in Kentucky at some time. Maybe they already played. I don't know. That's cool. I don't.
So, for those of you who have not experienced the Two Devs and a Dude podcast, what the premise of the show is that two developers, myself and Cajun, sit down and we talk with a dude who is Grant over here, about game development and video games through our developer's perspective. And then both Cajun and Grant are experienced podcasters, and so I'm very much not. And so we have, and then 2/3 of the team are podcasters, and then 2/3 of the team are developers. And every other episode, it's all about sitting down and actually playing a game, and then dissecting it from a developer and then non-developer perspective. So this is our news. I think we got some great news for you, some very different news than what we normally have. But Cajun, would you like to take it away with your topic first?
Sure. Let me switch over real fast.
Let me pull it up on my phone. Just before, since we actually know what game we're playing this time, and we're not pulling it out of a hat, should we announce that now, and then we can also announce it at the end of it? Like, do a double.
Go ahead and announce it.
Oh, what is it? Cajun picked this game. It looks cool. It looks interesting. I have yet to buy it or play it, and I missed it on the Steam sale, and now I'm kind of punching myself in the pants.
Oh, balls. I missed it on Steam sale, too.
Yeah,
dang it.
yeah. But it's Beast?
I forgot to purchase it while it was on sale.
Beastmaster? Question?
Beastmaster, yeah.
Beastman? I'm looking. What is it? Beastmancer. Yes, Beastmancer. And from the looks
that
of
is a felony. That is a felony in most states.
Jay, what? Anyways. Yeah, if for anyone that's familiar with Gladius or Final Fantasy Tactics or any sort of those other games where you like have soldiers and you move them around a small battlefield in 3D, taking turns, stuff like that. It's a tactical RPG. I don't know the exact subgenre.
But RTS, a real time. Oh well, no, it's a turn-based strategy game.
So
Strategy? Okay.
Yeah.
I will say this. So four different genres of strategy game that really typically matter. There is a tactical RPG. Think Final Fantasy Tactics. Then there's a strategy RPG, which is something more like Fire Emblem. And what really differentiates the two of those is how many units do you have and how zoomed out is your map. Then you have, of course, RTS, real-time strategy, which is when you do something and your opponents are doing them at the same time, which is more like a
Civ.
Instead of us commanding a small force, you're commanding an entire legion, an entire army.
That is what is typically called a grand strategy game, where you have large scale scope, lots of units, and it's more of a world conquering type of a thing.
That's cool. So you learn something new every day. Didn't know there was 3. I was just like, it's a strategy game. All right.
But there's also turn-based strategy, because I'd already forgotten about grand strategy. But turn-based strategy is like an RTS, but it happens in turns. Crazy that.
Yes, Beastmancer is the game. And Cajun, what is that topic you going to be talking about?
Okay. So we are going to be discussing RuneScape, everyone's favorite video game, playing back during lunchtime in the library hall, in the computer labs, back when we were all in high school and junior high.
I was just going to say it's everyone's game that everyone who did not play made fun of the people who played.
One of our team members, Natalie, she's Zammers for those on Twitter and also on the Wraith Games Twitch channel. She is actually hugely enamored with RuneScape even to this day. She even briefly got me back into the game last year for a couple months. So very interested to hear what the news is, Cajun.
Yeah, well, just for a quick tangent, all of us one episode, you know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to play like Gaia or RuneScape or like Salem, some weird little clubby initially. I would say Club Penguin if it was still around, but we're gonna have to do that one episode.
That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
I'll play Club Penguin for the span of about 30 seconds because I will force myself to get banned because all you have to do is say like ass and you're just like, you're banned. I'm like, thumbs up.
I will say,
but Club Penguin,
Realm of the Mad God would be a good answer for that because I think Realm of the Mad God still holds up.
I mean, I think I played.
It does. It really does.
I've never even heard that. I think I played Gaia back in the day. I think that was the one that I played. It was like the 2D flat. That's the one that I played, internet one. And it also gave your computer terrible internet STDs.
Hey, at least it wasn't MapleStory.
I played MapleStory as well. I played MapleStory as well. And there was another one. I played Fly for Fun.
MapleStory.
There was the free MMO that I played was for a while now. It was called Fly for Fun. For a while, it was called Fly for Fun. And then the other one I played was like you were a robot and you would fight people and you would get the bosses would drop other loot so you could become like parts of the boss, so you get like boss
Mega Man, Grant. You're having a fever dream.
No, there was a robot game, and I cannot remember what it was called. It was a free online game by the same people who made Gaia. Or not Gaia, but Fly for Fun.
There was a GameCube game that was kind of like that too. Custom Robo, I think is what it was called.
Custom Robo was great.
Yeah, I wish that was going to bring back. When the Nintendo Labo Robo game, like when I saw, I was like, man, if that was Custom Robo, that'd be dope.
Anyone else remember Metabots and just like wish so bad like that was real? Like even as just a good game.
Yes, and that's
I liked Metabots a lot.
Yeah, and that's gonna tie into my topic, and it's gonna be great. But yeah, dude, did you ever play the advanced games? Because they were awesome.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I actually think I have one somewhere.
There was two of them. There was one. It was the orange and purple, I believe, and it was like Metabots. One had the Shadow Metabot, and the one that was the orange Metabot that the main character had in the anime.
Yeah, you had the beetle one, which was the main character. And you had a tiger one, which was I remember the kind of bitch character that was like in his class.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Was the main robot?
Yeah, the beetle one. God, that was
name, guys.
I don't know. I don't know what his name was. I have no idea. It's been 10 years, 15
Clearly
years.
The only one still stuck up the ass of my own nostalgia.
I mean,
well, I would usually remember some obscure little Philly bit like that, but I'm completely blank on it as well. And currently, my room is without power since we're working on some of the lights in the house, so I'm going to have to look later for the game. I know I've got it here in this house, though.
Good excuse. I'll take it.
Yeah, our wife is trying to string up the dining room chandelier that we're replacing the old busted up fan with the Hurricane Harvey wilted fan blades since they were wood, literally kind of drooping down about 10 degrees.
Yeah,
we're finally replacing that.
Cajun's getting all fancy, hanging up chandeliers. Sheesh.
Quote unquote chandeliers. It's like you're saying it's a puzzle game. There's so many things that are.
I'm gonna call up Sia and Shia LaBeouf and have them dance around your living room.
What?
Sia, oh my God, Cajun. Do you listen to music? Do you know who Sia is? She has a song called Chandelier.
I actually really enjoy
stupid thing, dude. Like I tried to block that out of my memory.
But she has a song called Chandelier, and in the music video, Shia LaBeouf is dancing in it.
Oh, that's who that dude is?
Clearly.
Use Cajun.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, now that we've wasted like another 10 or 15 minutes on tangents, that should be the episode. The title of the episode is just Tangents Upon Tangents. Like, even for us, this is bad.
People love it. They'll eat it up. Delicious.
Oh,
Actually,
it keeps me entertained, and I'm in the show, and I usually hate the sound of my own voice.
In all honesty, I did. I've done a little like guerrilla networking. Not really. When there's 3 electricians on the job I'm working at, and one of the guys has listened to a lot of podcasts, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's really weird hearing someone that I know's voice while I'm listening to them." And he's like, "But I really enjoy when you all go off on crazy tangents." And I was like, "Great, I'm glad someone does."
At least we're not chasing the listenership away.
Yeah. Hey, you know what they say: do what you love, and everyone else will come find you. Yeah. Okay, so what about that news?
What?
The news.
Yes. Now let's get to it. So the cool news is, and last year I got the nostalgia bug to go play old school RuneScape, and I wanted to do it on the go because what the hell. I wanted to be able to play it on the go instead of being stuck at my computer doing it. And there was a long-ass way of doing it by installing Debian and and eventually it freaking works if you have the right phone. Well, as of a few days ago, about a week ago, if you have Android, you can actually play old school RuneScape directly, officially, through an app. There you go.
That's really
caveat to it. The only caveat is you have to have a current subscription to it. So you can't just be a regular free player and get into it right now since it is still a semi-open beta, I guess. But I think it's like your primary account that like whatever character it is that has the subscription tied to it. So, but yeah,
it's not difficult.
iOS for once is actually not the leader on this because they are still sitting and waiting for their version.
As an iPhone user, I don't think there's too many people clamoring to be like, you know what, I really need on my phone RuneScape.
Grant, guess the average age of active old school RuneScape accounts.
Probably 30. Between the ages of
not the demographic age, but like the age of the accounts.
10 years.
7.
Oh, I was close.
The average active account on old school RuneScape is 7 years old.
I mean, I'm every time someone mentions RuneScape, whether it's in passing or when Natalie or Zammers, whatever she wants to go by, when she mentions RuneScape, and I'm just like, people I'm always dumbfounded, and I was like, people still play RuneScape? Like
It is still the largest free MMO in the world, I believe. Still,
that's insane. And I know it gets huge numbers on Twitch. Like it's always up in like at least the top 10 on Twitch. And I'm like, what? Like I can't.
It's bringing new content to it to always make it fresh. They always keep upgrading the graphics. There's a new combat system that went in a few years.
They've left them in 2007 graphics. We're talking old school, not RuneScape 3.
I'm talking about RuneScape in general. I'm saying the reason RuneScape is so popular, they are always
slowly updating it. What's some subscription? Just what is it? Like what's the cost?
So how a subscription to RuneScape works is you get access to new areas, and it's about $5 a month, but with an asterisk, and I'll explain that asterisk in a sec. But you get access to new areas, you get a whole bunch of exclusive items, you get new skill trees that you can explore, like just skill trees that aren't available to anyone else. You get a whole. It basically is like 1/5 of the whole game, and then paid RuneScape, the premium subscription, is everything else.
Yeah, firstly, like you have access to additional quests, areas. Just there's a lot of content behind the subscription paywall. Fortunately, you can do like on Eve where you can buy a subscription pass in game with the gold regular currency, but it's probably time consuming to get that amount of gold to get a subscription pass.
I believe it's 100,000 gold.
Yeah, it's a few hundred. I think I saw 400,000. But like once you get to higher levels, you can probably get that amount easily enough.
That's cool.
The way Natalie does it is she will get one subscription pass whenever she gets a hair up her butt to play it. She'll get one subscription pass. And then because she has access to these zones and stuff, then she's able to perpetuate herself for several more months just off of in-game currency. Because when we played together for that little period of time, I was complaining. I'm like, well, first off, I need a premium subscription. And then second off, last I left my character, he was broke. And so she's like, well, buy 3 subscriptions. Because if you bundle them together, I believe they're a little cheaper anyway. And I'm like, okay. And so what I did was I subscribed myself, and she acted as my Sherpa. And then I sold one because you can sell them on the in-game market completely legally. And I was rolling in dough, and within just a few days, it was enough for me to pay for my next subscription. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to play a couple months of this. You just keep having fun. I'm done.
You're like, I got my nostalgia itch. I'm good. I'm good.
When I was growing up, I always had one goal, and that was to get Wizard's Boots, which was an exclusive quest item. And then Wizard Boots are actually more expensive than the far more powerful Mystic Boots. But the problem is they were only available on one specific treasure trail normally, and then super nerdy. And then I ended up getting my Wizard Boots, and then someone hacked my account, sold all my shit, and then that's when I stopped playing. And I was like in my late teens.
Wow.
And then later, Christy and I, my fiance, we played for a little while about 7 or 8 years ago, and we played for 3 days. It was me, her, and my brother, Cody, who's a level designer for us. And like, why the hell not? Why don't we just play a little bit? And the thing was that I had told her I loved her. She was actually sitting in the kitchen, and I told her I loved her over chat when I was logging out. I'm like, okay, I love you, bye. And some dweeb was like, haha, dating over RuneScape. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not picking this up again. And then when Natalie and I were...
Ultimate rage quit. You can just like give up the game entirely.
That was exactly what happened. Well, the only reason we were even picked it up is because my brother was playing WoW at the time, and it was 3 days of server maintenance when he was down at my place, and because he was staying the week, and so he's like, well, why don't we just play RuneScape together? And I'm like, that actually sounds like a laugh. Let's do it. When I got this,
actually, if I may interject, speaking of server maintenance, that actually leads me to my second topic about RuneScape and my second news article overall. In all the time that RuneScape has been around, old school, new school, whatever, they've had server downtime for maintenance and stuff like that and upgrades, but they've never had a rollback until like today or yesterday. There was a bug that hit that let me see. So normally when you do PvP or even PvE, you'll sometimes have an item drop or something like that. Well, apparently, there was a bug that when you killed someone PvP, it dropped 2,147,483,647 gold coins, which is pretty much the max out of what the game can generate for a pile of coins. Don't ask me what number system that's on as far as like actual like integer float, whatever, but that's where it maxes out at.
2,000,000 and something. So it sounds like even numbers, right?
2.1 million. Yeah, 2.1 million. It was what it was dropping for a lot of people, and it got to the point very quickly, obviously, that RuneScape had to shut everything down and actually roll back everyone's accounts. And apparently, according to this, I think Polygon article, some people are still having to manually go through. They're having to actually go through and manually restore the account rather than just roll it back from backups.
Wow.
So this was a historic week for RuneScape in two incredible ways.
Interesting.
News recently where they decided to shut down RuneScape Classic.
Huh?
I believe there was something in the news recently about them wanting to shut down RuneScape Classic. Maybe they just decided not to do that.
What, the old school RuneScape? No, I mean, as far as I know, that's never been an issue. Like, they don't upgrade it like they do RuneScape 3. But, I mean, they do still add content every now and then. I logged in 2 years ago to play with my wife, Lauren. And, there was some battle quest going on, like some world cataclysm. And I logged in again last year, and it was over. But, the effects of it were still visible. There was a giant crater right next to the starting area.
According to Polygon, on May 23rd, 2018, is shutting down after 17 years.
Did they give a date when they were going to shut it down or anything, or just maybe it was a rumor?
Well, so the thing is, currently RuneScape has 3 games concurrently running. There's RuneScape Classic, RuneScape, and Old School RuneScape. And Old School RuneScape is the one that I basically grew up on. I did play a little Classic, but I was there for the transition. And then Classic is the really, really old one. And then RuneScape 3 is what is currently up. And so they're keeping support for Old School RuneScape, and they're shutting down Classic. They are not saying exactly when it's shutting down. August 6th, actually. So shutting down on August 6th at 1 p.m.
I didn't know there was 3 versions still going, honestly. So yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'll learn something about my own topic.
Yeah, no, so also, as of yesterday, RuneScape has brought in over $800 million in revenue over its lifetime.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yep.
Good job.
And it's 250 million total accounts.
That glitch that you were experiencing was not for RuneScape Classic, it was for Old School RuneScape.
Yeah, did I make it sound like it was for Classic, or did I say Old School?
It made it, at least to me, it made it sound like you said it was for Classic, but I could have misunderstood what you meant.
Yeah, apologies about that. No, it is for Old School.
Sorry about that. So yeah, apparently RuneScape has a fuck ton of news. Holy shit!
Like I said, it dumbfounds me that it's been going on for that long. That's insane. Good, who made RuneScape? Was it just one dude?
Jagex.
What else do they do? Nothing?
No, they have a few other smaller web games, but RuneScape is by far their biggest property.
All right, cool.
I remember back in 2009, I was on Gamma Sutra looking at jobs. Not that I wanted to abandon Wraith, all the way back in 2009. But I was still thinking, oh, what if I got a job, at another studio while Wraith was growing, while Wraith was being built, over a decade ago. But they were actually Jagex was hiring for a lead developer for RuneScape because theirs had quit.
But so, Jay, what is your topic, Jay? What is your topic?
My topic for this episode is actually, it's more Jay's gonna bitch about things more than anything.
Yes.
And I think you guys are probably gonna agree with me on this. The announcement from Nintendo that there's going to be 20 to 30 new indie games every week on the Switch. So I gotta from a developer perspective, and I'm pretty sure you guys can probably agree with this. Definitely Cajun, who has to review like indie games and stuff for IndieView. hard for the cream to rise to the top when there's so much noise, like in the indie game, to mix my metaphors, in the indie game community, like how do you separate signal from noise when the entire market is so saturated with content? And
trying to pick out Beastmaster was stupidly hard. I lucked into finding it on Twitter, of all places, not looking on itch.io, not looking on Steam. I found it through Twitter. It is absurdly, stupidly hard to find the good quality indie games.
Yeah, absolutely. It sucks. It sucks so much. And I mean, that's why I'm glad that stuff like Indie Game Launchpad and Orange Bison and Switch Player Magazine and on all these great, wonderful resources, Juniper Hadley, for instance, all these people who are trying to signal boost wonderful indie games. But like Jupiter Hadley, I don't know why I said Juniper. Sorry, that is a cartoon, Juniper Lee from the 2000s. All these wonderful, wonderful people who are trying to signal boost good indie games, but it's so hard, and it's so hard to get noticed. And that's one of the reasons why Wraith has spent so much time going to conventions and also so much time getting awards. If we get so many awards for Collapsus, you can't not notice us. And it's so many of these games, so many of these little games, and they all have to pass QA, that's fine. But do you guys remember what it was like shopping on the Wii? Do you guys remember that?
Like, no, because the only thing I really ever bought on the Wii eShop was the Virtual Console games.
I'm not even necessarily talking about the Virtual Console or the eShop. I mean, just going out to a store, you'd see like 35 billion shovelware games, and like Steam is having a hard enough time trying to curate this stuff, and their answer for curation is basically let's just not curate. Same thing with iOS and Android. iOS curates a little better than Android does, but still not much. What happened to the Switch? Is the Switch going to be the cesspool of low quality games where the good stuff can't really shine?
Eventually, the cream will rise to the top. I think when you have mediocre curation, like this brings in like a huge like broad topic of like, and this goes into like a Twitter thing, and I felt really bad about what's a little bit. I felt not really bad, but I felt a little bad. Like I felt like some things that I said in that Twitter like post way back thread a couple months ago about game curation with Orange Bison when they finally came back, stuff like that, and how game curation is super important, but also there's when you have like just it's based on like one single person or a few like tight knit group that always get. I was doing like the devil's advocate part of like how the bad part of possible game curation of how everyone has a price. So technically, whoever could throw the most money at it would get the most mind share. So similar to how the indie game movie, and how the guys who made Super Meat Boy, and how that they put like the guy's parents or one of the guy's parents like mortgage their house or something like that for the money to get their game out to help make the game, and that they were riding so hard on the fact that their game was going to be on the front page of the Microsoft store. That was super important. And when that game first came out, it was not on the store, and they freaked out, and they were making phone call after phone call after phone call because they wanted to be on the front page of Microsoft store, because that showed that Microsoft had an initiative, that they trust this game, that they know this game was going to is a good game, and so on and so forth. So it gives a perception that this game right here, if it's on the front page of the store, it's a good game. You get what I'm saying? Where I'm going?
What were you going to say, Cajun?
Yeah. No, going back, you were talking about your rant about curation, all that on Twitter, and 2 years ago I brought up exactly some of the exact same points with Andrew of Orange Bison when he was on my show. It was like, okay, if this is based on user reviews, how are you going to combat the trolls? How do you fight the big brigading that can happen at times? And he's like, all this stuff is individually moderated. It's all reviewed, Yeah. And I think that he has a big enough staff that have wide enough taste that, you're not going to have to worry about, one particular genre or style of game floating above the rest. just because that's preferred to the group. But
like and that also brings up like the whole point of there was a Steam game months ago back also, and that's the reason why I brought up like the whole troll thing. But there was a company that was telling their employees to go on Steam and review their games, or they lost their job because they wanted high ratings on Steam so they could be, I guess, pop up higher in the store.
Ultimately, I don't think that because of the fear of abuse of curation, we should not attempt curation. I think that those problems are so few and far between, and there's such sort of renegade fringe, like outliers, that ultimately all we have to do is try our best to make good curation and hope that it sticks. Because unfortunately, trickle down is just it's absurdity. And when you have the Wild West of an app store with no curation, the cream won't rise to the top.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are some great games that get buried. For example, and you were talking about awards and stuff. So there's this game called When the Water Tastes Like Wine. Don't know if you've heard of it. It's got numerous reviews, did great, had incredible critic reviews and all this stuff. The developer was Dim Bulb Games in Serenity Forge, and the publisher is Good Shepherd Entertainment. Just to give that that shout out and stuff. But this game, When the Water Tastes Like Wine, has really good voice acting, very visually appealing, got great awards, but it is a single player, highly story driven game, and it tanked. Like critically, awesome, did fantastic critically, but financially it tanked. It was awful. And the only reason why I know about this game is because he wrote into Kind of Funny, which I'm a big follower of Kind of Funny. This is what inspired me to be a podcaster, all this other stuff. But Greg Miller of Kind of Funny there's this big long episode review, or episode with an interview with the guy who did The Water Tastes Like Wine, and how he discusses how big budget, single player indie games are difficult to survive in this marketplace. Whether you have awards or critical acclaim, it just depends if you can get in that mind share and all this other stuff. So, I don't know.
I've noticed, though, that when you have systems that curated or not curated at all, at that point, the success of your game is still monetarily driven, because then it depends on how big your advertising budget is outside of things. So money will always be the factor by which games that do super well will continue to do super well, I think. Anything else, I think, is kind of an outlier. So to me, it doesn't matter that, oh no, some people are bribing some reviewers and stuff. That money they would have just been spending on advertising anywhere, giving them an unfair advantage other arena. So to say that we can't have good curation because the curators may be bribed.
No, I mean,
well, if we didn't have that,
I mean, I was just playing that part of, the bad part of the thing. I believe in curation. I believe that it needs to happen. It needs to be curated. Like PlayStation Store, I'm sure there's great indie games that have probably been buried. I'm sure on the iOS there's great indie games that have been buried. Like, I would have never heard of Florence on the iOS and Android, that game, if it hadn't been for the people in the games industry that I follow, that I admire, and that I trust their opinion. Like, I would have never heard of Minute if it hadn't popped up in my Facebook feed by Polygon, and they're like, hey, you need to check this out. And it was mentioned by Jared Petty of Kind of Funny, and also of Hot Blip and a Jump. If it wasn't mentioned by him, if it wasn't mentioned by those pundits that I trust, or that I enjoy their opinion, or understand, like, they have similar game tastes than me, I would have never known about that game. Similar to Pony Island. It was in this mindshare, like, Kotaku did an article of, like, we're not even going to tell you what this game's about. You need to go check it out. It's incredible. It is not what it seems. Go play it. Go put it down your 2 bits and experience it yourself.
But those games are in the public consciousness because they have managed to grab the fleeting attention of the press. And that in itself is another difficult act. I think with good curation, then we would have to rely on the gaming press less, because the gaming press only has so much time to play all of these games that they get requests for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That falls to the Kotaku, like in IGN and Polygon, all the Giant Bomb, stuff like that. But Giant Bomb also falls under small indie, I guess, independent pundits, as in Kind of Funny, as in like I myself with Go
Giant Bomb's pretty large.
Yeah. Yeah, Giant Bomb has a lot of pull. But, like, Kind of Funny, though, what I'm getting at is that pundits in the gaming industry definitely holds a, they hold a huge draw and a huge appeal for finding those gems.
I think, Jay, you mentioned Jupiter. That's the thing is, like, for the indie games, you have to go niche, to try to get her attention. If you want coverage as an indie, you try to reach Jupiter and then hope that, you still get spotted by the right people to get picked up from there, because she covers so many games that just, like she's mentioned on Twitter and in her episode with me that there's games that she's covered that the only proof of their existence at this point is in her videos. You can't download them anymore. So it's like, even if a great indie game gets out there, is it going to exist for long enough to get picked up?
As far as I see it, everything in this industry is a money's game, because you either have to get the monetary attention of quote unquote influencers, or you have to have an advertising budget, or you have to resort to bribery, or you have to pay for all these conventions to go to, which is how you get awards and things, or you have to do the whole time is money thing, where you spend all of your time going out to people who do this for free. People like you, Cajun, and people like Jupiter, and people like Orange Bison and stuff like that, who do it for free. But then you have to do the whole, like, I have to send this email out, I have to follow up on these contacts, and time is money, especially for people who are doing this as indies, people who are doing this as hobbyists, people who are doing this as a small studio. So what that means is, regardless, everything is a money's game. That's why I think instead of good curation being something that is corruptible by the introduction of money, because everything's corruptible by the introduction of money, ultimately, I think that good curation helps mitigate the need for the injection of money, and that anything else is potentially an outlier.
Agreed. And a good representation of that would be EA's debacle with Battlefront 2, and how a large majority of very vocal people, it might have been, like, usually I use the term vocal minority, which I don't like that term, but a large majority of people on Reddit, the internet, and everything was shouting from the rooftops of, like, please do not buy this game, do not support their loot box habits and all this other stuff. And it didn't sell very well. It probably, I mean, it sold decently with a Star Wars name, but it probably did not sell as well as they projected it to sell. And also,
no, not at all.
Yeah.
There were pictures of Black Friday sales after it came out, that every other game was sold out, and the only game that was still sitting multiple stocks of was Battlefront 2.
Yeah. Yeah, but that comes in like that, and that comes with reviewer scores. Like you can have the money behind it, but you need that checks and balances of individual reviewers to do that. But also, that also falls back to one of my favorite games, and one of the games that I always play and stream at twitch.tv/Brigadoon564. A little shameless plug there. Destiny 2.
Good plug.
Yeah, with in Destiny 2 there, because yes, it has problems. If you read into it, those who play Destiny, you know what I'm talking about. But Destiny 2 had a lot of problems. People bitched about it, like it was a step back from Destiny 1, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people were going online and be like, dead game, shit game, and all this other stuff. So there's this difference between a toxic and vital community versus just destroying a game that has this potential to succeed, and money grabbing and the vocal minority getting in the way of also reviews. And in the similar of the trolls, as you were saying, I believe Cajun and Jay.
Friend. I like Renegade Fringe. That's my favorite.
Okay, that's your term. The Renegade Fringe, yes, of those who are upset or disappointed or not happy with the way the game is, and they shout at the rooftops. That can also influence the game, but then there's those who, like me, who've stuck with it and played it, and like I enjoyed the evolution and the change and all this other stuff, and I know...
Let's be real, just for a second. The way the industry interacts with AAA games and the way the industry interacts with indie games is entirely different.
Yes, but I was just giving other... somewhat just different examples.
Saying that to invalidate your point, I was just saying that to even mention that even a game like Destiny, this was me adding to your point, not subtracting from it. Even a game like Destiny is going to make money hand over foot.
Oh, yeah.
It is a AAA game that has that budget, that has that pre-existing fan base, that has the goodwill of the gaming press already. And I think that's something interesting. But it's something like, of course, the Switch is going to try to do 20, 30 AAA games a week. They don't exist. There aren't 20, 30 AAA games every week. But to say that they are going to try to mandate 20, 30 indie games means that without proper curation, and I do not believe that Nintendo has the ability to properly curate or even the desire to, without proper curation, these indie games are going to drown.
Yeah, do they even have
some real license shortly?
Huh?
It's a really good idea on paper, but when you actually try to put this in practice, it is going to be so poorly executed, and the results are going to be so disastrous.
Yeah. I mean, that's great that's what they want to reach for, but are they actually going to be able to pull 20 to 30 indie games a week out of their ass?
There are so many people who are still waiting for dev kits. There are so many people, like every indie at this point wants to be on the Switch. And one of the reasons every indie wants to be on the Switch at this point is because it's so hard. Their curation is so hard to get through right now. Which is weird because I've seen some really, really crappy Switch games, and yet it is like there are some amazing Switch indie games that just can't get through. It's weird. It's really weird. But thing is that I'm not doing this for the sake of the indies. They're doing this because they know that when an indie game does stick, that indie game gives goodwill to them through the community, and it also does generate a lot of revenue. I think that what they're trying to do is throw so many indie games at the wall that they don't care which ones stick. They just hope that ones do. Yeah,
the ones that do create a lot of that bring a lot of financial revenue. Yeah, it's basically like just a shotgun pattern for Nintendo. They're just like, we're gonna load this shotgun filled with 30 bullets. We're gonna shoot it at a wall, and hopefully some of them actually penetrate that wall and will actually do something in the mind share of the gaming culture.
Hopefully, one or two become the next Bendy the Ink Machine or Minecraft or just that one standout fluke that defies all expectations and all, frankly, likelihoods of ever hitting it. This one truly magnanimous and magnificent game. They're just hoping to not miss out on it next time.
Yeah. To roll it back to, you mentioned Bendy and the Ink Machine. I watched some Let's Play videos of that. I haven't personally played it because I'm like horror games, and that's cool and all. If you like it, that's cool. Art style wise, really cool game, really cool art style. But I was like, no, thank you.
As a developer, I'm a huge fan of the Meatly, which is a guy who makes comics about game development, and he's also an indie developer, and he's the guy who made Bendy and the Ink Machine, and I'm like, holy shit, this game is great. I'm so glad I've been following you for years. This is such it's such a good game, and I'm glad I was able to be a part of watching it take off.
We'll have to add that to the pot of games to play. I'll play it. I'll scream because I don't like jump scares. But what I watch, though, it's like there's so many triggers. It's all trigger based, and I don't like and it's blatantly obvious of where the trigger points for the jump scares and all that other stuff are, and I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that sickness. That was a terrible bad, that was a dad joke straight from hey, yeah, I used to listen to metal back in the day, kids. I'm cool, I'm hip, I can get down.
I'm so glad that I only recommend this podcast to adults.
I feel like I've been keeping my profanity in check this episode. I'm trying.
I think he meant the cringy dad humor.
Yeah, we've had some episodes that
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. It's cool. Like harken back to the old electrician buddy. Can't remember his name at the moment. The whole bukkake thing. So funny. One of my favorite moments. Just go Go check it out. Go check it out. It's great.
That episode, that moment is going to live in infamy.
It's great.
Forever.
It's great. Go. Everyone, listeners, go back and check it out. I think it's. I don't know which episode it is. Whatever.
Bukake of memes,
Yeah,
if you will.
A bukake of memes. I love it. It's great.
So have we run this topic dry? Do you guys think?
I mean, you can open up Pandora's box with this topic. Okay, just a little bit. Does Nintendo in their eShop have any way to review or rate games other than like a 5-star system or something like that?
Oh, that is actually a good question. I think it might just be the 5-star system.
And there's a reason why Netflix stopped doing the 5-star system because it's not very accurate. Like, it's not good. I think that's the whole reason why they went to the thumbs up, thumbs down kind of deal is because I think statistically it has been found that
Cajun, what are you sawing?
He's a master carpenter, guys. Remember?
Actually, I'm scraping popcorn off of a ceiling.
Yeah,
and not the delicious kind of popcorn, unfortunately.
Get rid of that shit.
Did you have something to say? Because I know Grant kind of dived in.
Huh? No. I was trying to make some metaphor about how dead it is, but I can't think of anything right now.
No,
I'm sorry. You could do a whole podcast about curation. Like, you could go into talking about the analytics, the demographics, how do you do it? What do you do? The different examples.
That's the whole reason why
companies that do it, the economics of it.
There's reason why there's like individual companies that deal with the analytics and curations and statistics of individual video games.
Just meant, do you think that we have run it to the point where if we go any further, we're kind of just sort of talking in circles?
It is a dead Moe Deathclaw. Yes.
Good callback. And
what is your topic?
My topic, I have just straight up like the only reason why, like, it's not due to laziness. The reason why I don't have a news topic. There's just no news currently that's speaking to me. Everyone's talking about Season 5 of Fortnite, and everyone's like, "Man, Battle Royale games are awesome," and I'm like, "I've beat that dead horse to even more death," and I'm just like, I don't want to talk about it. So I've been. And I'm in this gaming lull at this moment. Like, there's games that I want to play, and I enjoy what we do with the podcast and stuff because it allows me to branch out and do games outside of my wheelhouse. Like, to play, like, this Beastmancer game looks really cool. I'm interested to check it out, and Minute was really cool. It allows me to branch from deviate from the other games I play. But currently, like, all I do is play Destiny. I'm excited for the new Destiny expansion that comes out in September. But ever since I played and beat God of War, I'm like in this gaming lull, and it's just like there's nothing that is speaking to me. Like, I want to play.
What you really mean to say is that Grant doesn't have a topic. Okay, good night, everybody. This has been the game of...
No. I do have it. I have this beautiful... I'm getting into it. I'm walking. I'm slowly walking.
I'm just messing with you. I'm
slowly walking into this topic. So, like, the only game I've been playing is Destiny, and every once in a while I'm like, I think about playing other games. Like, I've got this dope Naruto game that I've been like chipping away at because Naruto's cool and all. But yeah, like, and then there's like this great game called Witcher 3, and the complete edition's been on and off sale. So go check that out. It's a great game. If you've never heard of it, my backlog's full. All this other stuff, but nothing is speaking to me. Nothing is calling to me. Nothing is scratching the itch. So I just do what I always do, play Destiny, and at night I go lay in bed and watch some anime. And currently, like, My Hero Academia may have wrapped, but I've watched like one of the latest episodes where they started moving into the dorms. Fantastic anime. But recently I started getting to My Darling Franxx. I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Franxx.
I mean, it's Fran with 2 X's. I don't know.
The guy's name
is Hero. That's the main character.
I meant Dr. Franxx.
Yeah,
in the show.
Yes, Dr. Franxx. Yeah, but yes, I guess he was the one who developed.
I want to say real fast that I am way out of my league here. Like, the last anime I watched was Little Witch Academia, and that was like 2 or 3 months ago.
Good too.
Did you watch it? You must have watched it about the same time I did, because that anime is one of my favorite animes of all time.
Little Witch Academia is so good. It's just, oh my God.
Oh no, yeah, Little Witch Academia. No, I thought you were talking about Madoka Magica. That if you like Little Witch Academia, watch Madoka Magica, and you're like, this is how magical girls are supposed to be. Sailor Moon can suck a big fat dick, and she has in various fan fictions.
More than we're not even going to touch that. Bukkake memes here. But no, like my biggest thing, and I've seen this elsewhere with Little Witch Academia, is it's actually a complete story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's well done. And it's just a good story, which is lacking in so many cartoons, so many shows everywhere.
Also, I started watching Steven Universe with my son with Roxas, and he's like, I don't really like this show because I don't like shows. I don't like your shows, Dad, but I like my shows. And I'm like, listen here, boy, this is a good show.
He'll wind up liking Steven Universe. Wyatt watches it with me.
Yeah, no, I like Steven. I like it.
Really
I like
likes
it.
it.
But yeah, to going back, like video games, not speaking to me. So I'm watching anime. So I want to talk about like what's some of our favorite anime, good evergreen topic to round out the show, and maybe some recommendations for listeners.
I want to say before I go into this, everyone who knows me knows I am some sort of massive weeb.
Wear that derogatory term as a badge of pride.
I am king weeb. And so the problem is
just like Randall and Clerks 2, man. Take it back just like Randall and Clerks 2.
the problem is what people call an Oldtaku, in that I have watched anime my entire life, and I grew up. Oh, that's another thing. Like, people make fun of me all the time for this, but I say the word anime.
Yes, and you say manga as well.
I say manga because the Japanese vowel structure is a, I, u, e, o. You exactly where on the weeaboo spectrum I am. So
at the pinnacle.
I will argue with you about the anime because it comes from animation. It's a Western word that was brought into Japanese.
I mean, the people in
definitely
Japan who say anime, and that's what I say because that's what they say.
Yeah.
Well, that's
and Cajun tries
like having a difference of accent there. That's not. I mean,
well, my issue isn't that I believe everyone should say anime. I just want people to get off my tits when I say anime. But I also say foyer. It's not a foyer, it's a foyer. I don't begrudge anyone for saying foyer, but at the same time, if someone's going to correct me whenever I say foyer, they can piss up a rope.
Yeah. And that's like when Cajun says niche or niche, I mean, I understand it's a French term. It means, very, very honed in, very focused, very small knit community. But, America, drop the A, we don't care. 4th of July, fireworks, drinking beer, hitting each other with baseball bats.
Like I say niche as well. So
yeah. No, I don't care. The English language sucks balls anyway, so whatever.
It does. It is such a bastard child of cultures and languages.
Yeah.
I just want to say, to my knowledge, we had not used a single profanity until the word bukkake was said, and then we started just like cursing up a fucking storm.
And then I said big old dick. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, it happens.
Funny, actually. It's like bukkake just opened the floodgates. Yes, I meant that.
But yeah, speaking of bukkake, what's some of your favorite anime?
What are some of your favorites? We'll start with you.
Okay. So like you.
No, I said Cajun.
Cajun. Okay. You cut out. Cajun, did you grow up on Toonami? Like, did you watch Toonami as like a 12-year-old preteen?
I sort of did. We moved and I lost cable right as in Dragon Ball Z, right as Vegeta had just broken the last power scanner and Piccolo regrew his arm. That's the last. We moved like maybe a month after that.
But you got to witness.
DBZ was on its first airing.
You got to witness the quintessential DBZ. If anybody knows anything about DBZ, it's the crushing the scouter and yelling over 9,000.
Which I will say is always great because in the manga it was over 8,000.
Yeah, it still doesn't matter. It's still over whatever, whatever. He was just
It's better in the show.
But the one I watched a long time ago when Netflix was first doing the streaming instead of just DVDs, it was called The Golden Tribe. This was probably about 12 years ago, but it was.
What is it about?
It was really good. It was there were 5 races. There was a golden tribe. There's a silver tribe, and like humans were like bronze or mud or something like that. But this is.
I know what you were talking about.
Huh?
I've never heard of this. What are you?
I know what
talking
you're
about?
talking about. I've seen the show.
Yeah, like it was. I don't remember if it was like a Gundam or like a kaiju, but like this guy got bonded with this giant monstrous beast thing and wound up just going and wrecking pretty much the rest of the freaking galaxy. It was awesome to watch.
I mean, vaguely it reminds me, but like half the anime that I really enjoy has to do with mecha. Like I'm a big mecha anime fan, like person. Like I like Gundam. I like Zoids. Dude, a new Zoids is coming back for the first time in like 17 years. I'm super stoked. I'm super hype. And they're bringing out models as well, and they're going to be like at the price tag of like $30 a model, and they're like the good like exoskeleton models, and you can change the armor and stuff on them. Oh, dog.
So Thorn, for those listeners who don't know, is our business director here at Wraith Games. He's also my best friend. Growing up, he was always this huge Gundam fan, and I always just sort of yucked. I'm like, yeah. Because I was more of a shonen action series kind of a guy.
Dragon Ball Z.
The thing is that he and I have been going through the Universal Century timeline, starting at Mobile Suit Gundam and watching them in timeline chronological order. And we are currently on Thunderbolt. Though we took a break from Thunderbolt because I'm not liking Thunderbolt too much at all. We watched the.
Where does that fall? Just to drop it, because I've been watching Unicorn a little bit on and off.
So it goes Mobile Suit Gundam, which is I believe 0078, I believe is the year. And then so 0080 War in the Pocket, and then after that is Stardust Memories. So I believe it's probably at 0081, 0082 year wise.
Okay. But because the only reason why I mention that is because Char shows up in Unicorn. He's in Gundam Unicorn.
This is before his counterattack, and this is right before Zeta starts.
Okay,
so it's right after Stardust Memories, I believe, and because we've been watching them pretty tightly, so it's kind of hard to tell. They all blend in together sometimes, but it's right after Stardust Memory and right before Zeta, I think.
Okay, so that's when when Char was kind of a good guy. And then Stardust Memory has to do with the Gundam that has the nuke, and it's the big giant shield Gundam with the nuke bazooka and all that other stuff. And then, Unicorn falls after Char's counterattack because everyone thinks he's dead, and then he shows up. And the Sabaratsi, whatever the golden Gundam is that turns into the small jet that Char pilots in Zeta, right?
I haven't gotten to Zeta yet because we've just we're still going through Thunderbolt.
Okay, I didn't even that must be like a newer one that they filled in the gaps and all that other stuff. But yeah, well, my first
this whole timeline's out of order.
Yeah.
Thunderbolt, I think, is actually the newest thing that's ever been released. I believe.
Oh, okay. So it's actually newer than Unicorn. All right, cool.
So anyway, I was making a point, not to bore Cajun to death, because he's not a weeaboo like we are. So that's cool. But the thing is that we took a break from watching Thunderbolt for Thorn to rewatch Iron-Blooded Orphans. And
is it good? Like I watched the first 6 episodes and I was like, this is cool, but I'm not feeling it at the moment.
Sorry? Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Yes.
Opinion. And keep in mind, I'm not a Gundam fan. And it is the greatest Gundam show watched. And not only that, even though I am not a Gundam fan, very quickly it has gone into my top 25 favorite anime of all time.
All right, cool. I'll definitely have to check it out. So that's cool. Yeah.
Cajun?
I gotta ask y'all a question about a old classic. Have you all watched Macross Saga?
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm an Oldtaku.
Yeah.
That is, Macross is my jam.
All right. So a buddy of mine,
I'm what they call an Oldtaku, and I guess that would probably apply to you guys as well. Just Macross was my jam.
you do. Oh yeah. Like I was gonna what I was getting into. My buddy Corey. He bought one of the Macross like collections, not the first season collection, years and years and years ago. And I once in that time, I used to hang out with Corey all the time. Like when we were growing up, he was one of my best friends and stuff. So we camped outside. So my parents set up a tent outside. We slept outside in the tent, but we ran an extension cord into the tent. So we hung out. We played PS2. We played War of the Monsters, War of the Monsters, that game, for a long time because Corey and I rented that. But we also, where he had Macross bought, he bought that. I stayed up Corey slept, my brother slept, and I stayed up all night watching. But this was before, I guess, binge watching was a thing. Watched almost as much as I possibly could of the Macross DVDs of the first series of the. What is it? I have it setting on my shelf right here, right now. I can stare at it, but I cannot see because the color of the blue is the exact same thing. Blue as the other ones, but it's the original Macross series, which is comprised of 3 or 4 different series, correct? Like the original creator wanted to, when he syndicated in the United States, when he brought Macross over to the United States, they wanted to get 3 different animes together. It's like an amalgamation of various animes that make up the Macross series. And
if I had Wikipedia in front of me, I'd be able to tell you which ones those were.
I'm gonna just slowly.
Yes, I guess. Well, for those of you who don't know, Cajun is trying to install lights in his house.
So that's the reason why you draw. So.
I'm here-ish, sort of.
I was explaining the audio.
It was the Robotech. The Robotech saga is all of them. That's the whole series. So yes, it's the Macross saga, the Master series, and then the New Generations, and then so on. But in that whole thing, they've bought because I own the DVD Protoculture collection. I bought this when I was about 14 or 15 with my own money from Best Buy. When it was on sale, they had this huge anime sale, and I bought this for $40, and it ran, I think, retailed at 120 or something at the time. So I am a huge fan of Robotech, and Cajun, it is awesome, and Min-Mei will forever be Bae, and
she was just annoying as hell. I mean,
it's
the first couple episodes, I was like, okay. And after that, it's just go away. I'd rather watch Sailor Moon.
Did you finish it? Did you finish it to the because no.
No, frankly, because I bought it on iTunes 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago. No, I got halfway through the first one. By the way, I think the whole jamming 3 shows together was how Voltron and Power Rangers got the idea to do that too.
Oh, speaking of Voltron, the new Netflix series, incredible. Go watch that shit.
I am not caught up, but I don't care if you like old Voltron or not. It is an amazing show.
The new Voltron, new Voltron's fantastic.
Old Voltron is annoying and cringy to watch.
Yes, it is.
I guess moving on to different anime. Question. Big question. Because I'm not sure if this was edited out of our PAX special, but Grant and I once went on a very, very long diatribe about Dragon Ball GT.
It was edited out by your say so. You said we'll edit this out, and I was like, okay, I will agree.
Yeah, well, it's very much not PAX related, but since this particular topic is indeed anime, then we're fine. So, have you heard about the new Dragon Ball Super movie?
About Broly? Hell yeah, I have.
Okay. So, what about you, Cajun? Have you heard about the new Super movie?
Nada. But I also have no interest in most Dragon Ball stuff. So,
Cajun,
when we kidnap you to bring you up to Ohio for a few days, we're gonna binge watch some DBZ.
Yeah, we're no longer friends. We're
Oh.
we're working partners.
When I was in college, did the most amazing summation of Dragon Ball Z, and I cannot to this day do it justice. But he's like he's gone on diatribe as a creator. He's like, oh, we're gonna do this. Okay, we do this. Wait, you want this now? Okay, he's gonna fight a baby now. Okay, they beat the baby now. What else? They're gonna fight the baby's big brother. It's just. I mean, that's the best part about DBZ.
Are you talking about Frieza or are you talking about Baby from GT? I'm
talking about, like, there was Boo, there was Majin Buu, and he's like, oh, okay, he's going to fight the entire galaxy. Let's just do that, you know?
Dude, you need to watch Super then, man. You need to watch Super because it gets insane. And it's great. Like, I believe Akira Toriyama just likes to really mess with his whole fan base. He's just like, whatever. I don't even care. Like, we're gonna do some cool stuff. You're gonna enjoy it. It's all good.
As if you, from his perspective, like, if you don't like it, oh well, I'm having fun.
The reason I even ask is because this brings up something that has been pissing me off for a while. People hear something is coming back after a period of time. They always use the word reboot, and that when people were talking about Broly coming back for this new movie. All of the articles, just a way to draw people in, are like, Dragon Ball's rebooting Broly. The fuck they are. As far as I know.
Did you see
officially
Akira Toriyama's tweet? Like, he put this big statement out of how he had no involvement. He drew the initial sketch for Broly. He had no involvement in the films whatsoever in the storyline. He said he sat down. You can finish.
Hold on. Chill the fuck out, Grant. Toriyama's tweet. And the way you're reading this back is the way all Dragon Ball fans read back anything Akira Toriyama says. That you are implying more authority than is really necessary. Every time Toriyama writes anything, he's just a super chill, kind of confused dude. Like, anytime he's in any interview, anytime he writes an email, anything, he's just really chill and kind of confused.
Because the dude's worked to death, man. If you've read some of his forwards and backwards in like the manga, I'm just gonna say manga because I like saying manga. But yeah, if you're reading the forwards and backwards of like some of the manga collections, he states that he's like it changes like his pictures. He draws a little doodles, and it's like there's a point like he's happy. And he gets to the point where he's chained to the desk, and he's sad, and he's wore out, and he's tired. Dude's overworked to death.
What? That wasn't my point. My point was that, like, a while ago, he's like, oh yeah, Dragon Ball GT to be a side story. And when he said this, fans immediately took that to mean that GT wasn't, giant air quotes, real, or giant air quotes canon. Do know about Super, however, is that Super has already directly made callbacks to both the specials and the filler.
I have yet to watch the Dragon Ball Super Heroes short to promote the game, the mobile game.
I've not seen that either.
I have not. Apparently, it's super short, but apparently, Super Saiyan God Goku fights Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but they're from different dimensions. I've
been a big fan of that whole different dimensions thing ever since Dragon Ball Online. And you can, like, the whole idea of Time Force Trunks, Dragon Ball Online then became it's in the same continuity as Xenoverse. And you can tell in Super that he's toying around with this idea of a multiverse. And it's really interesting.
I do believe Goku mentions in that Dragon Ball Super, well, the little article I read that the fan backlash is like, it's super short, blah, blah, blah. But there is a mention of the Time Force in the Dragon Ball Heroes short.
Okay. And I'll have to watch that later. But my point was that whenever Toriyama said, like, oh, I consider GT a side story, a bunch of Western fans, and it's always Western fans, are like, okay, GT's not canon. Well, it's fine because it sucked anyway. And the thing is that we know for a fact that when it comes to Toriyama's work, both his editors, the manga editors, as well as Toei TV, have far more creative control over Dragon Ball than he does.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing that you will always know is that from GT and content from the movies sells. People still love Broly. people still love Super Saiyan 4. They may not like GT and they may not like the Broly movies, but they like the character. Toriyama made this tweet, and I will bet you $20 right now, like absolutely right now. He comes out, Broly will have a bit of a different redesign and he'll have a bit of a different personality, but he will not, the movie itself will not say anything that directly contradicts his origin story. And I will also wager that they will make some minor callbacks to the movie as well, the previous movies.
Oh, yeah. No, in this tweet or whatever that he came out with, he said that he watched all the films. He enjoyed them, he liked them, and that he made changes to his origin story, minute changes to his origin story, minute changes to the character of Broly, kind of changed his art style a bit to fit into the continuity of Super. And
everyone's art style's changed for Super. So.
Yeah, and that his editor basically said Broly has a super huge fan base in Japan and in the West, and that we should make a Broly movie, and therefore that's why it exists.
Well, and so that's the thing is, like, as far as I am concerned, sitting here right now, and we're going to get all sorts of hate mail for this, concerned right now, GT, I'm going to put an asterisk here and I'll explain my asterisk. GT is canon.
I can agree.
The movies, at least for the most part, are canon. The filler, and again, I'm putting an asterisk on that as well, is canon. And when I talk about canonicity, there's a problem here in the West. In Japan, that manga and anime are separate things. The thing about fans over in Japan is that they know that the manga is one thing and the anime is another thing. And over here in the West, especially with Dragon Ball Z fans, they believe that the manga is authoritative canon and the anime is somehow non-canon. They should be realizing is that they are both canon to themselves. Stuff in the manga will, of course, probably affect stuff in the anime, even though the Super manga is more like Boruto is being done, in that the anime is the primary product now, just as Dragon Ball Super, the anime is the primary product, whereas the manga is now a tie-in, so it's kind of reversed how it used to be. But manga will probably affect what happens in the show. However, the show is still, if a character exists in the show, it's not like, oh, we're now in manga content in the anime. That character never existed. No, fucking Marin existed, called out as existing in Super.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. That's like people how I compare. Like I enjoy the Walking Dead comic versus the television show because I like the content better in the comic versus the TV show.
Or like the Game of Thrones show, which just wrapped forever, versus the books, which we're still waiting on the last one from Martin. So it's going to continue on past where the show ends.
He will never finish that book. Brandon Sanderson will come in. He'll finish the book like he finished The Wheel of Time.
Yeah, I don't think Martin's ever going to finish. He's enjoying just like, I think he's just burnt out on it possibly.
Dude, he's said
he's been a slow writer.
Yeah. He's just sitting back getting them royalty checks now from the television show. He don't care anymore.
Like, and I honestly believe that there's a difference between stating, oh, I prefer this version of this thing. Because to be honest, I prefer Dragon Ball the manga and Dragon Ball Z the manga, well, because it's all Dragon Ball the manga, even Z, to the anime. I think that it is a better, more efficient product. However, just because I prefer that, and just because people prefer it, and the ability to go say, oh, well, nothing that happens in the anime is canon. And as far as we are standing, 4 is a moneymaker as far as merchandise and games and all that stuff. And things so far in Super to say definitively happening. Nothing.
Yeah.
What about Mai? They live in a world where the Dragon Balls exist. Like, I'm sorry, that's your answer.
Yeah.
That none of the things that are minor deviations are even remotely permanent. Like, well, why wouldn't there be Super Saiyan God powers? Well, maybe it's entirely possible that Vegeta, being a father for so long and not fighting, meant that he could no longer summon up the powers for lack of training. And because Goku was a child, maybe he couldn't summon all those powers. Or maybe they get taken away because Super's not fucking done. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, maybe like Beerus is like where you refuse to be a god of destruction, that you're not allowed to have these powers or something. Yeah, like they could find some minute details or something to strip the
exactly.
I mean, I understand where your logic is coming from and where you're heading.
And so the thing is that people like GT isn't canon. I'm like, you just don't like GT. The movies aren't canon. You just don't like the movies. Like that's fine if you don't like the movies. I mean, there are some real stinkers in there.
Tree of Might, though, man. Tree of Might.
It was so dumb,
but it's so good. It's so awesome. It was the first time I got to see Kaioken × 3 before like Goku hit it in the television show. Like it was great. I don't know, but yes. Okay, so I mean, I don't know. We could probably talk for hours about anime and all that other stuff. But let's do like
Cajun looked like he was trying to say something.
Cajun, what you got?
Oh, I was going to say, how much controversy would be created if the creators and current directors and all that of all the Dragon Ball sagas, like would get into the Dragon Ball, I forgot what the name of the game, but the latest Dragon Ball Fighter game, and like pit different versions of the characters against each other.
That's
I don't think there'd be much controversy there.
Yeah, that's similar to Dragon Ball Heroes. Like Dragon Ball Heroes, like I said, you have Super Saiyan God Goku versus Super Saiyan Gen 4 Goku.
Keep in mind, also, in Toriyama's mind, at least according to him, Dragon Ball Online is canon.
Yeah.
All sorts of weird shit can happen crossover-wise. So I don't think fans would be that. Well, maybe the fans in the West, but I think it'd probably be fine.
Yeah, dude, I don't care. I'm just on for the ride. I'm just like, I enjoy it. I don't, man. It all harkens back to like the whole, Ninja Turtles is getting rebooted for the umpteenth time, and everyone's like, "That's not my Ninja Turtles," blah blah blah, and all the other stuff. Like, I make the whole joke of like Pikachu and Eevee and stuff, like hashtagging out my Pokemon and all that other stuff. I don't care. Like, if you enjoy the game, just play it. That's cool. I'm not gonna throw down my 2-bits and play it. Like, it's just not. I don't want to play that game. I want to play a.
And I actually will. I will say this to the official audience. To the audience, our Pokemon embargo has officially ended. We had a discussion between the last 2 episodes, or the last episode and now, and there's no more Pokemon embargo. We will probably have an actual Pokemon episode here pretty soon. I know that Cajun and Grant are definitely wanting that. So just.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like it goes back to whole, like if the new Voltron, people are upset about that. The new Thundercats, like it's all for a new generation. Why does it matter? Like my son, like he's watched the late 2000s Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles. I've watched it with him. I own some of the old Ninja Turtles DVDs from the 1980s and early 90s, and we've watched those together. It's like it's just bringing a new generation into the fold to bring them interest in, like, it's like the older generation to be like, this is where it came from. Watch this. If you want to watch it, if you enjoy it, that's cool. You enjoy the new stuff too. That's okay. That's where my viewpoint falls. Like everyone who got upset about the new Power Rangers and shit, like it's whatever. Like the movie was okay. It was mediocre. I was surprised of how decent it was, but whatever.
I will say.
Fun fact about Power Rangers, since you mentioned it. So I watched it for a little while as a kid, right? Because all of us did. And after once I started hitting like junior high, I just completely lost it. And I never had YouTubing gave me the history of Tommy on the was it Dino Thunder?
Yep.
Saga. And I actually started watching it, and I've tried to go back and watch some of the other ones, or I've caught them on the morning cartoons and stuff like that, blocks, and they were bad. But this one, the Dino Thunder, major props to all those writers because they did just a good job of writing the actual episodes. They did a really amazing job doing homage to the entire legacy of the show. I mean, and the fact that they brought back. The one actor who, in my opinion, is genuinely worthy of the Power Ranger legacy because he's gone on and done the mixed martial arts, and he's just generally such a good guy. It's like they did everything right with that series. I've watched probably about half of it already.
The Nickelodeon when Nickelodeon owned the Power Rangers property, was some of the best Power Rangers, like modern Power Rangers.
You're wrong. I have reasons to say this.
Dude,
May
when Disney now that Disney owns Power Rangers, that shit's garbage. Like the newest Power Rangers is awful.
Grant, you have it backwards. Nickelodeon has it now. Disney had it when it was really good.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, backwards then. Yeah, when Disney had it, it was great.
That's why I said you're wrong. Watch the originals again.
Yes, I have. You can go on Netflix. If you own a Netflix account, you can watch like all of them.
It is so like, even taking away from the 90s of it, the 90s-ness of it, like, this was years ago, but I tried to go back and watch a couple episodes, and watching Billy, quote-unquote, hack into the computers, he's just literally moving his hands up and down. Like, he's not even actually typing. He's just moving his hands up and down, hitting keys, like claw hand. It's like, how? How did I ever...
Because you were a child, and you had a slower, like a higher margin of disbelief.
Okay, so I can
still recognize that it was like a dude in a rubber suit, or like with a Megazord, it was a dude in a spandex suit and some cardboard on him. But like, how did I miss that he was doing like claw hands for typing? You know, I knew what typing was.
Something, and I just have to say two big things, and I apologize. I have a little thing before I say my big things. My little thing is, you have accidentally wandered into my dojo. I'm really sorry.
No, this is a whole nother topic. We need to talk about some of our favorite anime and wrap this shit up. This will be
Grant.
Huh? Has the Pandora's...
It's died. If I don't say these things right now, I'm gonna jump off a bridge. You don't even understand.
Okay, well, don't do that.
And I've got one more anime to bring up. One more anime I want to bring up.
Can it be after I finish with my Power Rangers rant?
Yes, start it. Yeah,
have at it. Go.
Thing one, it should be noted that I have seen every season of Power Rangers except for Ninja Steel. I will be watching Ninja Steel here very soon.
It's not good.
I'm aware. That's why I haven't watched it yet. Thing number two is that, and keep in mind, I'm also a fan of actual Tokusatsu Super Sentai stuff as well. Tokusatsu Kamen Rider. Tokusatsu is the genre, and Kamen Riders and others. But anyway, the thing is that Power Rangers, when it started, it thought it was a comedy. Power Rangers got really, really good at Power Rangers in Space. I think Power Rangers in Space really holds up.
With the Psycho Rangers and stuff, yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God, yes. Anything post, like, Power Rangers in Space was great. Anything post Power Rangers in Space for a little while was also pretty great. However, feeding into what Grant had said, the Disney era of Power Rangers, so Time Force, Mystic Force,
SPD, right?
Those are RPM. Actually, RPM sucked, but for entirely different reasons. Those are Turbo.
Yeah, Turbo the movie. No. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Jay, I'm going to disagree with you, but I think it's just because of our age, like the era that like we were watching. I'm just a few I think I'm a few seasons behind where you were as far as like my favorite stuff. But again, I think it's just our age discrepancy.
Well, you're older than me.
Yeah,
Jay and I were about the same age.
Very stuff, but definitely the first generation with the Green Ranger, all the way through Turbo and the original Ninja. That was like my prime. And you come in like right after that. It went
Mighty Morphin. It went Mighty Morphin, and then Alien Rangers, and then Ninja, and then Turbo, and then Zeo, then Turbo. As a child, I thought Turbo was hot garbage. I am 28 right now. As a child, I thought Turbo was hot garbage. Going back and rewatching it, I still think it's hot garbage. I do not think the actor who played what was his name? The little kid.
The Blue Ranger?
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
He was a bad actor. I think that it was. I think that they misjudged a child's want for a child ranger. But those actors in that show did absolutely wonderfully in Space. Point ultimately was, though, that the Disney era was the best Power Rangers storytelling ever. Very sad that during the Disney era, so many Power Rangers fans talked about how awful it was and how much they wanted Saban to take the license back. Because the second Saban took the license back, Samurai, Super Samurai, Mega Force, Dino Charge, full. It's absolutely just tepid pudding.
What's the
lot of
Megaforce is the one where they get all the keys, right? And they can turn into whatever Power Rangers from like Legacy and stuff, right?
Yeah. So the thing is that was actually a really good premise.
What?
Yeah, it's the premise is
actually,
cool.
No. The problem is that they got actors who couldn't act. And okay, so this was all to build to something very, very actually important that I think the audience needs to know. I believe that these new, and I'm agreeing with you, Grant, but I have to make a little dissent, that shows made for children, and that sometimes it's not really for us adults to be like, well, that's bad. However, I believe that we still, even with children's media, need to be critical of it. Meaning, this new Thundercats reboot that we know basically nothing about is probably just fine. If it starts being a dumb show, qualities, that's when we can call a foul. Not because we don't like the art style, not because we don't like the humor, but when it starts trending into being bad media. And I don't just believe that the Neo Saban era of Power Rangers is called. I don't just believe that it's bad at being a Power Rangers show. I honestly believe that it is bad, lazy, internally inconsistent, poorly written, poorly acted, low budget, and these are things that
it's just a cash grab.
Absolutely a cash grab, which is funny because they don't make a lot of money on these shows.
Dude, I know the toys have gotten really shitty too. Like the toys have gotten atrocious. I don't think I used to get like Power Rangers Megazords for every Christmas, and I think Space was one of the last ones, one of the big whatever had the rocket and all the other stuff. That was the last. Yeah, that was the last Megazord that I got.
Yeah, there was the Astro Mega ship, and then the Delta Flyer. I believe it was the Delta Flyer, and then you had the Astro Megazord and the Delta Megazord.
Yeah.
In Space is one of my favorite of all time.
Space,
it's just fucking perfect.
Galaxy was dope. I mean, yeah,
it was interesting. But it was very much okay, that's fine. But like Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, SPD, all of those are the best that they've ever been. And what was the other one too?
Jungle Fury, was that one that was owned by Nick?
Yeah, Jungle Fury is pretty great too. What was the one after Jungle Fury? That was
I thought it was Mystic Quest was after.
First came Mystic Force, and it was Mystic Force, then RPM, then Jungle Fury, and then another car themed one, giant air quotes, which was really, really good because it was actually taking place in an alternate universe.
Oh yeah, that was the super dark one.
Good. And the comedy was really great too, like in it.
That was RPM, right? Because SPD was like the space police department, and then it was RPM.
RPM was they were all treasure hunters, and they all lived in a big mansion. And turns out that the Red Ranger was secretly a robot built by a rich guy.
What?
No, that was Operation Overdrive.
Okay, was it Overdrive?
Even from the off-the-wall
that was Operation Overdrive. So RPM was the really good.
RPM was the dark one, the really dark one. Operation Overdrive.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, the problem is Operation Overdrive and RPM were both car-themed, giant air quotes.
Yeah.
Which is why I get them confused. But no, RPM was so good, and Operation Overdrive was so terrible.
Yes, yeah, that's when it started falling downhill, I believe.
That's actually not when they were falling downhill, because you had Operation Overdrive, and then Jungle Fury was really good, and then RPM was really good. It was just a blemish in the Disney era, and it was fine.
Yeah. And Dino Thunder, was Dino Thunder the end of the Disney era?
Oh, RPM was the last Disney era show.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So was Dino Thunder
Dino Thunder was number 2.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Force, Time Force, Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, or did it go Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder? It was either second or third. And then SPD, Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive. Again, like I said, I'm really sorry.
No, I agree with you, Jay. Like, you can be a kid's show, and you can still pull all the cheap Deus Ex Machina save the day stuff of a hero show because it's a kid's show, and still have good writing and good characters and stuff like that. And you can also just be cheap and just have lazy writing entirely, and it's just not a good show on any level.
Like, going back, agreed. I absolutely agree. And going back with what Grant had said about Ninja Turtles, I love the original comics series.
Yeah, Eastman and Laird. Yeah.
I thought
Cajun.
What?
Cajun. I said Eastman and Laird, but yes. No, I was saying your name because we could hear you fabricating, you scraping popcorn off the ceiling.
Just picking something up.
You got a
you're
powerful...
like super sensitive.
Yeah.
Jesus. No, it's easy for y'all to not hear me when I try to say something, but not arguing with you guys, but like apparently like my mic sucks with my voice, but it picks up everything else.
No, I think no, you might be right. It might actually be the problem. You may want to go into your mic settings and fuck around with that.
Dude, I'm on Android right now, so there ain't much settings to fuck around with.
Huh?
But yeah.
Turtles. So the thing is that the original series was great. The Eastman Laird Mirage comics were great. Some of the Image comics kind of sucked. Next Mutation kind of sucked. Well, it really sucked. But the 2003 show, really good. And then the 2011 show, really, really good. The Ninja Turtles anniversary shorts that they put out recently were really, really good.
Yeah.
That I don't care what people say about this new art style. Fuck them. I think the show's probably going to be great.
I'm interested. I'm going to check it out. Like this new Thundercat show, I'm just like, all right, I'll check it out. I'll give it a whirl. But it's like I was saying, it's bringing a new generation into the fold. It's indoctrinating a new generation into nerddom, into geek culture. I'm like, just let them have it. Like, whatever. It just this whole combat between, that's not mine. That's not what I grew up. You're ruining my childhood.
That's what it is. It's gatekeeping.
Yeah, it just... I don't know. I'm over it.
Have you all seen the documentary series on Netflix, the Toys That Made Us?
Oh, yes. Fantastic.
Yeah.
The Thundercats episode. Like, the show, it started off with toys, which was cool and all that, and everyone liked it. And they did the show, and it was good. And then, whatever they're coming out with now, I'm very hesitant based on that art style. It can go either way. A really good, Steven Universe did. It's got a campy art style, but it's still a really good show. Or it can go, Teen Titans Go level stupid. But hold on. But it cannot get worse than really where He-Man was and Thundercats were at the end of their cycles, where it is really just cash cowing everything until the entire franchise crashed and burned.
Speaking of He-Man, and just a little throwback and just a side tangent to pound tangents, this whole last subject is just what about dope ass television shows we watched as a kid? That's cool. I mean, whatever. But or just geek culture, zeitgeist in general. But the mid to early 2000s He-Man they showed on Toonami was super dope. Yeah, it was super good.
It was. It sucked that it got canceled.
Yes.
So that's one of the interesting things. So I have two little comments on that, and then we can talk about Cajun's anime, I guess. Because I didn't mean to hard right turn this as much as I did. But that so the two comments are, I don't like the original Thundercats. And I didn't like the original He-Man. Do you know what I did fucking like? The 2003 He-Man show on Cartoon Network. Do you know what else I did fucking like? The 2011 Thundercat show that was canceled before its goddamn time. They were fucking great.
That's why I'm so glad that Netflix has Voltron right now, is because Netflix, those two got canceled because they didn't cash in fast enough. They didn't get the kids to buy the toys fast enough. And so, okay, we'll just toss it in the scrap heap. Screw whatever else.
The Netflix Voltron is incredible. It is so good.
So the thing is,
the time to build it up.
Yes,
that's
they have.
Thing, is they've let it become its own thing.
Network has this problem where they do not believe that that action shows are good. They recently that should be noted is, and this was going back to what you were saying, Katie. This was my second point actually, is that people often compare Clarence, Uncle Grandpa, the new Thundercats, Star versus the Forces of Evil, the quote-unquote CalArts art style. First off, most of those were not done by CalArts alum, A, and B, they look nothing. You know what did look alike? Every fucking show from the late 1980s. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. In the '80s, like almost every show looked the same. They all had the same art style.
I am always concerned when I see a new comedy coming out from Cartoon Network, not because the art style looks like Teen Titans Go, because I don't think this new Thundercats looks anything like Teen Titans Go, not even remotely. However, I'm concerned because I'm like,
trying to say that it's in the same art style, but like the
internet is, though. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying the internet has said this ad nauseum.
No. Like so Gumball was mixed medium. You know, you had some stuff that was like images with Photoshop eyes and stuff like that on it, and some of it was just looked like it was hand drawn. And others just were clearly 3-dimensional animation, and that was a great show. But then you also had Uncle Grandpa, which is similar. It's not to the same extent that Gumball was, but it does have, you know, some stuff in there that's mixed medium. And frankly, that was such a stupid, bizarre show.
What's the?
That I flat out said, "Why you're not allowed to watch this?" Like, if I can't get any semblance of like anything besides we're gonna be zany for the sake of zany. It's like, no, you're not watching that. You need an actual joke. What was just weird?
What was the show before Gumball? Like that had to do with like the fishermen. Like, what was that show on Cartoon Network? I cannot remember. Flapjack. It was something about Flapjack.
Yes.
Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Yes, that show was and is incredible, and I always thought I always wrote it off. I was like, oh, I'm too old for this Cartoon Network. Like these shows this is stupid. And I got sick one day, and they had like this massive marathon of Flapjack, and I was just taking large teaspoons and shots of codeine, cough medicine, and hiding under covers and going in and out of like sleep. But as I was watching this, I was like, it got me hooked. I was like, this show is incredible. Like everyone's like talking about like SpongeBob and like SpongeBob's so great. No, like no, Flapjack is incredible. It was one of the greatest shows ever made. I don't know if it was the codeine talking, but I thoroughly enjoyed that show.
So the thing to you, Cajun, in response to what you were saying about Uncle Grandpa is, I look at Uncle Grandpa and all I can see is Cow and Chicken and Ren and Stimpy. And I am not a fan of either of those shows, and they are very similar in my head where I'm like, oh man, it's just random gross out weirdness, and I just don't know why and care.
Yeah, I mean, Ren and Stimpy was one.
Ren and Stimpy I never attached to, but Cow and Chicken.
There was still a in-universe, like, it was weird, but it wasn't. Both of those had weird in them and, like, unexpected stuff, but it wasn't like this, we're going to do something that's zany to try to get a laugh. And it's hard for me to articulate, but there's a definite difference in it. You know, it's like Adult Swim versus the subversion of expectations is what it is.
That's all it comes down to.
You're expecting it to go one way. Yeah, but it's like in the universes of, you know, Cow and Chicken and Ren and Stimpy, they all had roles. You know, you expected it. It stayed consistent within itself.
They do it on Grandpa's work.
But it's like,
just be old, and that's fine.
Yeah, no.
Not trying to dismiss what you're saying. I'm wondering how much of it is your age.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But look, this
No, because
like
I think if it's a well done show that like does irony and puns and stuff like that and euphemisms, there's genuine like more to the joke than just it's being weird for the sake of being weird. In Uncle Grandpa, there isn't that wit to it. There isn't that second or third level or angle you could take the joke at. Yeah, it's just weird for the sake of weird.
The few episodes.
I'm not entirely convinced that Cow and Chicken was more nuanced than that. I'm sure that Ren and Stimpy was more nuanced.
We have stumbled in like 18 million
Cow
topics.
And Chicken, you need to go rewatch because there is a lot of stuff. And Dexter's Lab too. That it is like, holy crap! I watched this as a kid, especially Johnny Bravo. I mean,
is an entirely different animal. I think Johnny Bravo is great. I'm just saying specifically Cow and Chicken. I have rewatched Cow and Chicken, and I do not, and I dislike it for the same reasons I disliked it as a kid, which are the same reasons I dislike Uncle Grandpa.
I don't like Uncle Grandpa. I understand where you're coming from, Cajun, with the whole weirdness and stuff. I was a weird kid. I enjoyed Cow and Chicken, but I'm like, the few episodes I did watch of Uncle Grandpa, I was like, what's with this pizza dude, and what's with this creepy lizard man, and what's with this creepy grandpa? Everything's creepy and real weird, and I don't know, I don't like it. But let's get back on to the anime topic. That Cajun, what did you have?
Okay, update regarding the Robotech and Macross Saga. Season 1 of the 3 is actually on Netflix here in the U.S. Because I was looking up the name of another anime I wanted to bring up and say, go watch this because it was amazing. And it actually came up on the list before the one I was looking for. Yeah, so if anyone wants to go check it out, there you go.
Also, if you want to check out the original run, you can actually watch the original run of Macross or the Robotech Saga. You can watch the English version and the Japanese original uncut versions on Amazon Prime. They have all the both versions before they edited and butchered it on Amazon Prime Video.
Well, I don't know if this is just Macross Saga or what. It says Robotech and then 1985 one season. So I don't know if it's one of the 3 seasons or what now.
When it was brought over into the United States, the Macross Saga, because originally Robotech is like one season. It was supposed to be standalone, had no tie-ins to New Masters or the Masters Saga.
I think this is the first one because it says when a mysterious spaceship crashes in the Pacific, must master the science of robotechnology and rebuild a giant fortress. So
yeah,
I believe it was Robotech over in the States, and then all 3 of those shows, Macross and the other 2, were all rebranded as Robotech over here. It was Robotech the Macross Saga. And then Macross, the anime franchise, was an entirely separate franchise in Japan, which was also really good. But the first shows of both of them were basically the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
So what was your other thing about anime, Cajun?
So the other one was, and I found kind of a third one that I haven't finished here on Netflix. So one that is amazing to go watch is only one season long, Gargantia. Alien space dude in a mech crashes on Earth, post-apocalyptic Earth, kind of like Waterworld Earth, and pretty much comes up, like adapts to like the fact that he's never going to get home.
Yeah,
it's just it's a really good show.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out. It sounds interesting.
It's pretty good. I've watched the first 5 episodes or so of that. It didn't really hook me, so I kind of dropped it.
It's not a really deep story, but it is a decent one for one that's like just based around a lot of action.
See, I got reeled in with the mech, and then I was just like, there was not enough mech combat, so I stopped watching it.
Just stick with it because, especially the last bit, it gets really heavy in the mech stuff.
But yeah.
And then Knights of Sidonia. I need to go back and finish that, actually. I need to add that to my list.
Oh, yeah, that is a Netflix exclusive kind of. It's a CG animated version. But yeah.
Kind of CG to the flattened 2D-ish looking stuff. It's weird, but it was a good show that I started. I need to go finish it.
Yeah, it's a cool anime. I started watching it. Like if it isn't any indication, if I'm not watching documentaries or the TV show Glow or like some Netflix, like Stranger Things or some Netflix originals and all that other stuff, it's all good. But yeah, we've been running really long. So Cajun, I know you don't watch too much anime, so we'll start with you. Give me some anime recommendations that you would say that you could give.
So besides the Gargantia and Sidonia, I am a sucker for the Sword Art Online, the first 2 seasons.
Hell yeah!
I get into the third one with Gun Gale or whatever that is. I know it's bad, but I'm a sucker for it. I don't know why. But and then of course there's the giant dick joke that is Gurren Lagann. I'm a sucker for it. So,
dude, Gurren Lagann's great.
It is.
Like I said, it has mechs. Jay can whatever. SAO, not a bad anime. It's well done. It's kind of like a romance story. It's all right. I enjoy it.
I hate it now.
The SAO alternative, Sword Art Online alternative, Galgun, that one. It's not bad. It's on Hulu. Yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoy it.
No, I think the guy that created SAO, he's like going back and doing a new manga, possibly, because he was like, the first time I did this to create the show, he was like, I've grown as a writer since then. I would have done a lot of this differently, and it's like I want to go back to this world and do it correctly this time. So even if you're not a huge fan of the show, but if you like the premise of getting stuck in a world, the virtual world where if you unplug, you die, stay tuned for news on it.
A recommendation for that, there's a anime called No Game, No Life on Hulu that I watched, that the guy gets stuck into a video game similar to SAO.
And isekai. Isekai is the genre of being trapped in another world, usually a video game or another dimension. So Dot Hack, SAO, that other one.
That's fair.
With the cat guy, the rapiers. I just least favorite genre of anything.
I think that's fair. If it's just not your genre, that no fault there.
Jay, I know. I'm sure you have plenty of recommendations. So have at it, bro.
Okay.
Cephas.
So I'm going to recommend stuff that I hope not everyone has seen or heard of. And I'm also going to let my Oldtaku flag fly a little bit. Not too old, but definitely
like Toonami era, like that era. I hope
post Toonami. Oldtaku is usually pre Toonami, but I'm going to go post Toonami, but some more obscure stuff as well as some newer stuff. So that if you are a fan of Little Witch Academia, and if you are a fan of Madoka Magica, you deserve it to yourself. To watch Princess Tutu.
That's about the Swan Princess, right? Similar.
So Princess Chicha it's about it's a magical girl show. That it's surprisingly dark. It's also surprisingly heartfelt. It's about a living fairy tale that its central focus is on Swan Lake, and then it expands to other actual Grimm's fairy tales and Aesop's fables and stuff after that. And it is absolutely one of my favorite shows of all time.
I mean, you've never filled me in. I'm going to use this as reference also when I'm like, I have no anime to watch. So, because Madoka Magica, you knocked it out of the park. I can't say too much about that anime. Like, if you don't even like anime, watch Madoka Magica. That's all I got to say.
I am a firm believer that if you like Madoka Magica, you deserve it to yourself to watch Princess Chuchu. It starts getting dark at the second season. It's as dark as Madoka Magica. It's because Madoka Magica is still a shoujo It's still a shoujo thing, whereas Madoka Magica is seinen. For those of you who don't know, shoujo means like young girls, and then seinen is adult males. In Japan, they treat demographic as if it's genre. But it is one of the darkest shoujo shows you're going to watch. It's also incredibly heartfelt. You'll probably cry at the end. It's absolutely wonderful. Number 2 is also shoujo. That's not my entire thing isn't going to be just hugely shoujo. Another show that if you like Little Witch Academia. Sorry for that. A great show to watch would be Uchipuri Yushi or Petite Princess Yushi. it involves witches and curses and girl love and overcoming magical obstacles through friendship, and it's absolutely wonderful. A little older also is D and Angel, not too old, obviously. D and Angel is like what happens if a magical girl show was about guys.
All right.
There's no other way to say it. There's magical girl transformations.
But dudes.
You okay?
Yeah, I was just said, but dudes, magical girl transformations, dudes.
It stars a dude,
Okay.
Daisuke Niwa, and on his 15th birthday, he finds out that he is actually supposed to be the successor to the great Phantom Thief Dark, whose job it is to steal magical artifacts. And so it turns out this Phantom Thief Dark is living in his head, very similar to kind of a Yami Yugi kind of situation, except that it turns out the only way for him to change back is to find his sacred maiden, his one true love. And there's this other guy, he's the son of a cop, and he's a super genius who is Kraid, who is this opposite force, and it's absolutely wonderful. I love the anime. It's older, like mid 2000s. It's an ADV production. Going a little more modern, certain magical index and a certain scientific railgun. If you like My Hero Academia, then you'd probably enjoy them. Lots of really great superpowers, kind of a school-based kind of a thing, not too much. It's absolutely wonderful. Probably the most modern show I'm going to recommend right now would be, and you probably you've already seen it. There was a Netflix remake of it as well. It is Erased. Erased is this psychological crime drama involving time travel, and it's not as sounds. It mostly takes place in the past as a young boy has jumped into his past self and is now trying to solve a murder of a group of school children. It's absolutely great. I won't give anything away. I will say that as a mystery, it's a little disappointing. It's pretty easy to figure out, but if you have the chance to watch it, you absolutely should.
All right.
Hey, Grant, before you take her, can I jump in and get y'all's opinion on one of my guilty anime pleasures? Because I just remembered binge watching this one last month. We're on High School Host Club.
Absolutely love it.
I've never actually watched
There has
it.
never
But
been a greater reverse harem ever, and it is hilarious. It is fucking just great.
As a fan of big pervy anime, I like harem animes just because I like pervy animes. But all right,
Reverse harem.
Yeah, well, no, I like harems. Period. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Whatever. Let everybody love everybody. It don't matter. Spread it around. Whatever.
When I was making my round of suggestions, I was going to jokingly say Boku no Pico, but I completely spaced when it came time for me. So
what is that?
Google it. I don't want our podcast to be taken down.
Okay.
Jesus.
All right.
With all the stuff we've talked about, if that can get us taken down, maybe we should not Google that.
Yeah. I'm probably going to leave it in. I'm probably just going to leave that. Just go. Listeners, go Google it. If you're interested, go Google it. I don't know how to spell it. We're not even going to spell it out. Just go. Just go check it out. My recommendations are probably more. First off, classic. If you've never watched a single anime in your entire life, Cowboy Bebop. Then I have two favorite animes from the Toonami era. That is Rurouni Kenshin and Outlaw Star. Those are my two, like from the Toonami era, minus the Gundam era of Toonami. More modern, like I said, you have Darling in Franxx. That one, that's the most recent one I'm watching. I'm also on and off watching Food Wars when it's on. My Hero Academia is a great anime. It's about a kid who was born with no superpowers in a basically society filled with superpowers, and he is gifted with that superpowers because he shows this great herohood, this might that other heroes that are gifted with the powers don't really show. What else? What else can I recommend? What's the other anime?
One Punch Man?
Yeah, fuck yeah. That's all I gotta say. Just go watch One Punch Man.
It's like none of us have even remotely mentioned One Punch Man. It's like, how in the hell did we miss this? I mean,
if you haven't heard of One Punch Man, you must not like anime. That's all I gotta say. That's
the reason I wanted more obscure stuff, and not even like super obscure, but just more obscure, because I feel that a lot of our audience probably already watches anime. I think everyone's already seen One Punch Man.
Go watch Digimon.
Yes.
I just ended.
Yeah, so. Digimon Try is incredible. It's great. Digimon Try is so good. But I'm an old school Digimon fan.
As far as I'm concerned, my favorite anime of all time, two-way tie between Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So I'm pretty easy to please. It's kind of the perfect show.
Yeah. Like Brotherhood is better than Full Metal Alchemist, but Full Metal Alchemist is still really, really good. I mean, it's just
in my head, they are equal for entirely different ways. And if you watch them back to back, you have one experience which is better than watching them without each other.
Yeah.
I think Brotherhood is too comedy focused. I think it's too action focused. I don't think there's enough horror. I don't think there's enough drama. I think it moves a little too fast. I think Alka-History is fucking bullshit. I think the panda, fuck that panda. So there's.
Yeah, no, that's a good recommendation though. The anime, just in general, is just massive. But I don't know,
Bro,
man.
If you're listening, Crunchyroll, give us a sponsorship. We'll shill the fuck out of it.
Yeah, that would be dope. I watch a lot of anime. I would be, yeah. Also, like we mentioned, Dragon Ball Super. You Dragon Ball Z's fan and you haven't watched Super, get the fuck out and go watch that shit right here, right now. Just stop the podcast right now. Pause it. Go watch, just binge watch all 271 episodes or 312, somewhere around there.
And if you remember after all that this podcast still exists, we'll see you then.
Yeah. Then come back, finish it, and then you can email Jay at podcast Wraith Games, something like that.
Podcast@wraithgames.com.
Yeah. But there's just like, I don't know. I watch a lot of anime. I've just this drought of games, so I've been just diving into other media that I enjoy. So yeah, anime is awesome.
Made in Abyss is fucking great.
Oh, I have one question you've probably watched. Where do you start with the Fate saga? Like,
so what you do with Fate is you have to kind of decide why you want to watch Fate, and then after you kind of figure that out, you need to call a shrink.
Oh, is it not good?
I very much don't like Fate. However, another reason we should have had Natalie on this podcast is Natalie absolutely loves Fate. I do not. So
I can see the appeal of it, but yeah, I don't even know where to dive in. I'm not diving in.
Or Fate Stay Night, and then
isn't there
work your way out.
Yeah, isn't there Fate Zero and all that stuff. I was gonna go basically by date of when the years they came out, and then watch them in
There's
that
nothing
order.
wrong with that. However, as far as I'm concerned, I consider it a hard skip.
Okay, sounds good. I will take your recommendations because I have said Madoka Magica is one of the greatest animes of all time. But yeah, they're like top 5 off the top of.
This is.
Huh? What, Cajun? What were you saying?
I was gonna say that I have a feeling this is gonna be a topic that comes up again. So we can definitely have Natalie on the next time it comes around. As long as we know it's coming around.
Yeah, I just kind of just dropped it on everyone. But yeah, because I had no topic really. But this ended up being a good topic and ended up running really long. And this is gonna be a lovely episode to edit, because there's lots of edits to do.
That I think we will just wrap up then.
Yes.
How's that sound?
Yeah, but go watch some anime. It's good shit. It's cool stuff. Play some video games.
So with that, I am Jay Kidd of Wraith Games.
And I am Grant McClure, founder of GoGo. Go check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/Brigadoon564. I play Destiny 2. And if you like what we're talking here about, like, stuff, just drop in, stop by. I'll talk to you about everything, anything, whatever. You want to talk about politics? Sure, I don't care. You want to talk about anime? Hell yeah. You want to talk about Power Rangers like one dude did? He dropped in, and we just started talking about Power Rangers, and he hung out for like an hour and a half. It was awesome. So yeah, we'll talk. We'll hang out, shoot the shit, and then...
Should we make a Discord for this show? So that fans, like, if anyone is interested... Just kind of drop in messages and just kind of hang out.
When the Patreon goes up, and we will be doing a Patreon here soon, that is actually one of the rewards tiers for the $1 Patreon. It's going to give you access to the Discord channel.
Sweet. Cool.
Woo.
Awesome. All right. That's dope. A little bit of tease, a little bit of tickling, if you know what I mean.
Let Cajun sign off. Come on.
Yes. All right. But yeah, like I was saying, also it's Brigadoon564 on Twitter.
Last episode.
Yeah, it's Brigadoon564 on Twitter as well. And go check out the Go-Go Show on YouTube if you want. I haven't posted anything new, but I don't know. Well, it's there. Go cool stuff. Thumbs up.
Don't forget to subscribe and like.
Click the little bell icon.
Click the little bell icon so you know when I go live.
Yeah. And everybody, I am Cajun, host of the IndieView Podcast. You can catch me at Cajun_Coding on Twitter and at IndieView Pod. Since I actually have some cool news, I have an episode from last year that has been one of my, actually two of my missing episodes. I found them both recently, and I am currently working on editing them. Check them out. Follow at IndieView because they will be coming online probably within the next couple of weeks, depending on how quickly we can finish up the damn house. We're almost done.
Does that deserve a hype bell, a hype horn?
Honestly, it does, but I don't want to piss anyone off with that sound effect, so no.
With that, if you want to get in contact with us, you can email us at podcast@wraithgames.com. You can find us on Twitter at Wraith Games. You can download this podcast on iTunes, on Google Play, and then of course you can find it on YouTube as well, basically wherever you do podcasts. And then our next episode is our Game Club episode, and that is going to be for Beastmancer.
We're gonna check that out. I hope. I mean, I'm very curious. Go rate us on iTunes and Google Play as well. That'll help us bubble up into the service because we talked about curation, and we can't do curation without that peer curation. So go rate us. Go give us 5 stars. Whatever. If you give us a good review, we'll probably read it. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. Cool stuff.
For any listeners, I actually have a request. So in this upcoming episode, we're going to be doing Beastmancer, like we've mentioned a couple times. But I'm also working on getting together a curated episode of small indie developers. I know a couple of people online, just as fellow developers, that they put out a lot of small, quick, casual games. If you know anyone that does that, if you have a favorite developer that you have a good mobile game, you have a quick little desktop game, something like that, that you know they do a lot of work and they just don't get a lot of exposure, please tweet me, email me at the IndieView at IndieView. I'm gonna have to look this up. I think it's at the IndieView. I know it's been so long since I've plugged this email address, man, like a year. But yeah, tweet me at Cajun_Coding for this, and let me know about them. Tag them up there on Twitter. Tag me their email, something, please. So because that way, what I'm planning on doing, or we're planning on doing, is we're gonna check out a few of their games, each of them. And we're talking about our favorite ones, and then see which one really feels like the developer should go back and has the most potential to make this into a big game, a great game that hopefully they can help break out with. So, viewer request, call out for that, please.
Sweet.
Us.
Love, peace, chicken grease, guys. I'm out.
It's the Two Devs and a Dude podcast signing out.
See ya.
Bye.